our mindful yoga practice this evening. Today we are going to be again focusing on one of the essential poses for yoga practices. And the one that we're going to be exploring a little bit deeper tonight is tree pose or Vrksasana. So tree pose is, of course, known as a balancing pose. It's probably one of the 2 or 3 yoga postures that is very iconic. If you think about anything that represents yoga, you think about the tree pose, maybe the downward facing dog. But the tree pose is more than just a balance pose. It is balance, of course, but it's also a really good grounding pose because it forces you, by virtue of balancing on one leg, it forces you, forces is not a good word, it encourages you, it persuades you to become very in tune with the grounded nature of your body to the earth. And I love all the metaphors. I love thinking about the roots attaching to the ground, the energy that we're pulling up from the earth, and then the strength of the body. So anytime we're in a balancing posture in yoga, it's more than just balance per se. It's really about stability. So when we think about stability through the body, from the core especially area, then it's really bringing in a lot of other aspects other than just balance. Because I think a lot of times when we think about balance, it's all in our head. It's how we feel off balance and in our minds, whereas we're really building this balance from a centering idea. So the idea of finding that strong, stable center, and then everything else just balances out from there. So we'll get into that a little bit more as we look at Vrksasana or tree pose just a little bit later in the practice. To begin, however, we are going to start off with a couple of poses that are going to open the hips. So hopefully that'll feel good for you this evening. Let's just start off. Actually, let's go ahead and lie down, and that way we can just get right into some of those hip openers and begin. So we're going to come into a supine position, and we're actually going to assume the shape of a tree pose in a lying down posture. So let's extend the left leg down, and we're going to bend the right knee and just come into a lying down position with the right knee bent and the right foot placed on the inner thigh of the left leg. So go ahead and do that. I'm just going to adjust my music a little bit because it's not coming through my speakers. So you go ahead and lie down and position your leg so that it feels as comfortable as it can. And that may mean putting a block underneath your knee to allow the hip to open a little bit more comfortably. So if you want to bring a block under your hip, then that will certainly be fine, because we want to open the hip gradually and comfortably. And then once you've found a place where you can maintain that shape with the open hip, then you can start to bring your awareness away from the body and more into your heart. So just begin to find your breath. Begin to allow your breath to become even and soft. Feel the soft rise and fall of your chest. And start to breathe, especially into that right hip, where you're going to feel A nice opening starting to happen. And if it feels a little bit intense, then you can do one of two things. You can either make the opening a little bit less, maybe make it a little gentler by building up your support, or you can just use that breath to try to soften and allow the tissue to release a little bit more gently. In tonight's practice, we're going to be working with grounding the body. So even in this posture where you're lying down, it's really nice to feel a sense of groundedness. Continue to breathe. We're going to stay here about 4 or 5 more breaths on this side. Dropping down. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then on your next breath, we're going to leave the right leg where it is. We're going to slide the left foot up, bending the left knee, and then allowing the left knee to drop open on the left side of your mat. So now you've got both knees open in a supine bound angle pose. And you're just going to let yourself experience what it's like to have both hips open at the same time for just a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and lift your right knee up and then extend your right leg down. And if you needed the support under your knee with the block, go ahead and change that to the other side. Now breathing into that left hip. Still feeling grounded, feeling your body relax. You just feel the natural rhythm of your breath. And letting your mind take a break, let your body take a break, and just feel your heart. Take 3 or 4 more breaths on this side. Very nice. All right, take one more deep breath in. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift that left knee up. Bend your right knee and bring both knees together. Hug them into the chest. Take your hands on tops of your knees and just create some circles, letting your knees rotate around in some small circles. And then turn the other way. So rotate around the other direction. bringing those feet back down. Go ahead and lift your head up. Start to bring yourself back up to the top and come to a seated posture on the mat. Both legs extended out. All right, so coming into a seated posture, we're going to let both hips become our seat, feeling those sits bones planted down. We're going to inhale, arms up, reach them overhead, and then exhale, fold forward, letting your hands drop down on either side of your legs and just slowly pulling yourself forward, heart toward your feet. 3 breaths here, feeling the stretch behind your knees, into the hamstrings. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to roll all the way back up. And now we're actually going to assume that same position, but from a seated posture. So this is more like a seated tree pose, if you will, bringing that left foot again right back into the inner thigh. Now feeling the left hip open up. Arms are going to reach up, overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your right leg. This is actually called Vrksasana, or head to the knee pose. But if you'll notice, your legs are very much in a tree configuration. Soften down. Find your ease. Really nice. Come all the way back up. Take your left hand behind your left hip. Lift up onto your knee. Support yourself on one knee while your right arm reaches up, and then take it over the ear. Beautiful, nice long extension with the right fingers all the way down to the right ankle. Circle the arm around, come back to your seat, and we'll switch legs. So left leg will be extended, right leg out to the side. Inhale, bring your arms up and overhead. Exhale, and forward fold. Let yourself sink into the fold, feeling your heart being drawn forward. Again, paying a lot of attention to what's happening behind the knee and all of the connective tissue moving in and out of those hamstrings and your calf, Achilles. Very gentle, very sweet. And then inhale, come on back up. Take the right hand behind your hip. Left arm is going to sweep out up and then carry it over the ear, coming into a full stretch from left fingertips all the way down to the left ankle. Imagine the energy flowing up and down your side body. Really feel that extension through the ribs. And then circle that left arm around, come back down to your seat. Bring both legs to the mat. Feet are going to be nice and wide. Place your hands behind your hips, and then go ahead and take it to a windshield wiper one direction, and then drop it the other way. So just back and forth, rolling from side to side. Nice wide windshield wipers. And one more time. Bring it back to the center. Come back up to the top. All right. We're going to actually stay seated for just a minute. We're going to actually bring the right leg over the left. You know what we're going to do actually? Let me pull that back again. Let me take the left foot and we're going to bring it over here next to the right hip. Sometimes I do that with the leg extended, but I want to bend it this evening. So bend your left leg and bring it back next to your right hip. And then we're going to cross the right foot over the left. So your right foot is either in front of your left knee or it's just off to the left side. And then lift up nice and tall. Take a breath and then hug that right leg in. Take your left arm around the leg, so you're hugging that right leg in, feeling now that stretch toward an internal rotation of the right hip, and turn your belly to the right. Your right hand comes behind your back, fingertips pressing down in order to help lift up through the spine. So think about your spine plugging down between your hips and then lifting right up to the ceiling. Deep breath here. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes pose. Beautiful. One more twist, one more breath. And then unwrap it, come back to the center, switch your legs around the other way. So bend your right knee first, right foot carries around to the left hip, left foot is on the other side of the right knee. Once again, lift up nice and tall. Wrap your right arm around first and hug that leg in so you feel the rotation in the hip. And then carry your left hand behind, turn into your twist. Breathing. 2 more breaths. One more. Nice. And then come back to the center. All right. Untangle those legs. Bring them around in front. Come on up to your feet. And we're going to go ahead and stand all the way up. So come to a standing. Actually, first, let's go ahead and just do a forward fold. So come to your feet and let yourself fold forward. Head dropping down. Let your shoulders and neck release. Really soften through the upper body and just let gravity do its thing, pulling you down to the earth. Your knees can be a little bit bent. That's always acceptable. And then just go ahead and sway back and forth. So just carrying your torso back and forth, swaying from side to side, gently, just like seagrass in the breeze. Beautiful. A couple more times. This is a really nice way of just gently opening up the hamstrings. Beautiful. And you come back to the center, and then we're going to walk the hands up the body, gently stepping them one up at a time, so we've got a little bit of stability as we rise. Bring the arms out to the side, lift them up and overhead. Inhale, upward facing hands, and then bring your right hand down by your side. Left arm is going to carry up and take a beautiful arcing posture over the ears. So my left arm is arcing over, my right hand is hanging down. Turn and look over your right shoulder and see if you can release that side a little bit more deeply. I know the emphasis a lot of times is on the left side where we're trying to get the stretch, but see if you can release that right shoulder down, and you may feel sensation roll all the way up into your neck, maybe even into your jaw. It's amazing how much tension we're storing there, but we're letting gravity do the work here and carry it down. Inhale, bring both arms up. This time carry the left arm down. We're going to bring the right arm over the ear, and your left arm is going to drop down, releasing the weight of the arm and noticing the sensation flowing all the way up to the left earlobe. Ah, so good. Inhale, bring both arms back up to the top. Exhale and forward fold, coming to Uttanasana. So from Uttanasana, forward fold, we're going to step back with the left foot, coming to lunge. So runner's lunge to begin, bringing that left leg back nice and long. My hands are underneath my shoulders. My spine is extended, grounding down through that right foot. Deep breath in, lift up the left thigh, really make that left leg nice and active. Let it do the work. One more breath. And then we're going to inhale. As we exhale, we're going to straighten the right leg. So we're going to actually straighten the leg. You may not get it all the way straight. That's okay. We're just pressing back to come into a modified lunge or pyramid posture. Your hands on the blocks might be really handy here. So bringing hands to blocks. My left heel is up. So we're still in a lunge position on that left leg. We've only straightened the right knee. And then inhale, come back to runner's lunge. So nothing else shifts except for the knee. Exhale, press it back to that straight leg. Inhale, carry it forward again. One more time, straighten that left leg, press it back. This time, see if you can push back into the right hip just a little bit, pressing it further toward the back of the mat. And then inhale, come forward again, runner's lunge. This time we're going to lower the left knee down. Inhale, arms are going to reach forward, up and overhead. Low crescent lunge, lifting up through your chest, arching back ever so slightly. Deep breath in, bring the right hand down by your side. Once again, crescent, bring the left arm over the ear. So we're creating a little arc on the left side body. And just as before, let your right arm release and drop down. Take that right hand, now we're going to bring it behind our back. So the right hand is going to sit right on your pelvis. Left arm is going to come forward. Left elbow on top of your right thigh. We're coming into a little twist. You may not go any deeper than this. That's okay. Take your right hand back. Let the palms come together. And if you want to, you can press down into that thigh. Give yourself a little bit of traction to engage in your twist. Again, it's all a matter of degree, so just do whatever feels best. Deep breath. Exhale, come back toward the center. Hands are going to come down. All right. As we come down, we're going to move into lizard pose. So we're keeping that left knee down. We're going to heel toe the right foot out and heel toe it out once again. So my right toes are now pressing off of the mat or reaching off the mat, and they're at a diagonal. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. From here, you can stay in this position. You do not need to go down any further, or you can even come up on blocks if that feels better for you. That's still going to give you this great, intense opening on the hip. If you wish, you can certainly come down on your forearms and intensify the hip stretch. But please be mindful and honor your body for where it is. We are all built differently and we're carrying tension in different ways. So I'm simply offering you options. One is not any better than the other. What is necessary is to breathe and relax. I'm going to stay here for 3 more breaths. So wherever you feel tension start to make itself known or any sort of really intense sensation, just use that breath to calm your body. And if anything painful arises, please back off. Take a more modified approach. lizard now by bringing the hands back up underneath the shoulders. We're going to heel toe the foot back up under, so we lift the left knee up and then slide the right foot back. We're going to take it to downward facing dog. Pressing back to a wonderful down dog tonight. Ooh, feel that stretch now into the lower back. Hips are lifting up. And then just start to walk the dog slowly by dropping first the right heel and then alternating by dropping the left and bending each knee alternately as well. So a little walking the dog. And as you do, feel that delicious stretch all the way into the gluteal muscle in the lower back. Let's take one more full breath here. Just really feeling that delicious stretch. And then come forward, drop down to hands and knees, and press back to a child's pose. Let's take 3 full breaths in child. One more. Really nice. Okay, come on back up to hands and knees position. Curl your toes. Lift up to downward facing dog. Walk your feet up to the front of the mat. Come to forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, walk the hands up the body. Come slowly to the top. Sorry, we've got some lawn service out there, so it's a little loud for just a moment. Forgive me. Arms are going to reach out to the side. Lift up overhead. Exhale. And fold forward once again. Sorry for the interruption. From forward fold, step back with the right leg. So we're coming into runner's lunge on the right side. Beautiful. Hopefully you could all hear me that last 10 or 15 seconds. Teaching from home. Lift up through the right thigh. Really feel your nice stretch in that runner's lunge. Inhale, lengthen the spine as much as you can. Exhale. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, we're going to straighten the left leg this time. Again, keeping the right heel up, we're just straightening into a modified pyramid position. And then inhale, come back with that bent knee, runner's lunge. Exhale. Let your leg straighten and push back. Inhale, draw it forward. Exhale, once again, straighten. This time we're going to slightly push back into that left hip just a little bit more. And then inhale, back to runner's lunge, and we'll drop the right knee softly down. Lift up, low crescent. Bringing your arms forward, up, and overhead. Feel that nice opening in the upper chest. Bringing your arms into a V. And then we'll drop the left hand down by our side. We're going to arch the right arm over the ear. Carry it into a beautiful arc. And then turn down and look at your left fingers. One more breath. Left hand is going to come behind my back. I'm going to place that on the small of my back. I'm going to take the right elbow down on top of the left thigh. Starting into the twist, turn slightly to the left, and then carry your left hand. Palms come back together. Push down into your left thigh and help facilitate your twist. One more breath, you've got this. And then carry it back forward again. Hands come back down to the mat. Moving into that lizard pose, we're going to heel toe the left foot off to the side. So bring your left hand to the inside of your foot, and then pivot on the foot and the heel until your toes are pointing out and your heel is pointing in. And decide where it feels best for you to drop into lizard. And it may be right here, or it could even be higher with straight arms. Find your ease. And stay here for 5 breaths. So that was at least 1. Softening. Two more. Last one. Really nice. Okay, wherever you are in your expression of lizard, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Slide that left foot back underneath. Lift up first to runner's lunge by elevating the right knee, and then sliding that left leg back. We'll take it to Adho Mukha Svanasana for a beautiful long stretch, lifting those hips high. And just as before, we're going to walk the dog, slowly lowering the left knee. Lowering the left heel, bending the right knee, and then alternating from side to side. Just take it slowly. Ooh, that feels so good to let everything come back into balance. Continue your deep, nourishing breaths. Wonderful. And then just go ahead as you're ready. Come on down to your hands and knees. And just as before, let's press back to child's pose, letting your chest drop down, forehead to the mat. And take 3 full breaths. Okay, as you're ready, come on up and find yourself a comfortable seat. I'm going to just talk a couple of minutes about tree, and then we're just going to practice it together. So you can sit in hero, Vrksasana, whatever's comfortable for you. So, in our tree pose, let's talk about tree. Of course, we know that there's the balancing component that we've already talked about. We're going to be rooting down through one of the feet, and then we're going to be lifting the other one. We're going to be opening the hip out to the side, and then finding a position where we can maintain the position of the legs and the balance. But let's talk about what's happening in the core. So, as we lift up, as we begin to balance, let's put it this way. If I'm sitting here or standing here with both feet on the ground, it's great. My pelvis is level. My hip points are at the same height relative to the floor. But what happens a lot of times when we lift one leg up? We tend to let the hip drop down. We tend to compensate by letting all the weight of the body collapse into one hip. So first of all, we're going to practice just learning how to pull up and maintain that position of the hips. So that's one thing I want you to feel as we practice this in just a moment. And then the other thing is, of course, that we're feeling ourselves supported and stable through the core. So from here up to here, really, this is our core area. It's not just your six-pack. It's this whole area from the thighs all the way up. So when we think about holding ourselves steady, we're finding that position right in the center of the core, where we have equal energy moving out to the side and front to back. All right, so the other thing to understand about tree pose is, while it is an expression that requires the hip to be open, it can be open in various ways. So we can actually even keep a toe on the floor. As you can see here, I have a big toe on the floor. My hip is still open. I still have most of my support in the one leg. But I've kept the foot really low, and I do have that one additional balance point on the floor. We can also bring it up so it's below the knee. And this is perfectly fine too, and that may be where you have the most comfort with your open hip. Or we can come into the third variation, which is above the knee. And at that point, this is really your call where you bring that foot. For me, for whatever reason, I generally feel more stable with my foot higher up, but you may feel very differently in your body. You can see me floating around here as I'm standing here. The other thing that I want to point out is when we're in any kind of balancing pose, it's really important for the supporting leg to have a micro bend in the knee. Without that micro bend, if we're trying to stay still, we won't be able to compensate for the natural movement in the body. The body is always moving. It's always, we've got breath going on, we've got the beating of the heart, we've got the fluctuations that happen throughout the body. So we are never really stock still. And for that reason, the body needs to compensate by being able to rebalance itself. So you want to protect yourself and give yourself the best chance by allowing a tiny little micro bend in the knee. So let's go ahead and start this. Come on up to your feet. And we'll go ahead and take it, just so that we're all on the same side here, we'll take it on the left foot. So let's ground down first through the left foot. Let's start off in mountain pose. So mountain pose, just so that we really maintain that feeling of grounding down through the feet. So mountain pose, we've got both feet really connected. We've got energy flowing up through the legs. And then we feel that energy lock come into the core, that Mula Bandha energy lock throughout the core body. So see if you can maintain that, and then take your hands, one hand on your belly and one hand on your right hip. Because I'd like you to just lift your right heel and see if you can feel what happens as you lift that heel. If you feel yourself collapsing down onto the left hip, then continue to lift up until you can lift that right heel without there being any fluctuation in the pelvis. All right? So as we lift that right heel up, we're continually drawing energy up through the core body, literally elevating through the spine and keeping that left hip from being collapsed upon. So with that in place, go ahead and start to open your right knee, pointing that right knee slightly out to the right. And if you'd like to, you can start with that big toe on the floor. And then decide if you want to try to slide it up above the ankle, but under the knee, never placing it on the knee itself. Still maintaining that energy lock through the core body, still lifting up through the spine. Or maybe you'd like to try coming up above the knee by placing the foot in the inner left thigh. All right, my hands can be anywhere. They can be on my waist. They can be in prayer position at my heart. But I'm finding something that I can focus on. Find a point where you can attach your gaze to help you maintain your awareness and focus. And by all means, don't forget to breathe. Let's bring that right foot down. Maybe step from side to side. Get everything back, feeling like you're ready to go for the next side. And then we'll try that on the right leg. So rooting down now, bringing the mountain pose into the right foot only. Remember to give it a little micro bend. And again, I'd like you to just make sure that you've got that check on what's happening with the pelvis. So as you lift the left heel up, make sure that the body is not collapsing down into that right hip, but continue to lift up and lengthen through the lumbar spine. So begin to turn the knee out, perhaps with the toe on the floor if you wish. And if that's all the further you want to go, maybe you don't have a place where you feel confident that you want to move into the balance, that's okay. Just keep it right there. Or if you want to, slide the left foot a little higher up so that now you've got that foot between the knee and the ankle. Continuing to lift up through the body. Or if you want to, you can make the call to bring the foot up. Still lifting up through that right hip. Remember, there's such a tendency to let everything press down. Keep the spine elevated. Keep the core engaged, all 4 directions. Perhaps hands to heart. And then let's bring that left foot down. All right. So hopefully some of those action points are helpful to you as you build a safer and more stable tree pose. So let's just go ahead and move a little bit. We have, I'm trying to check my time here. Okay, let's just go ahead and move a little bit, and we're going to actually incorporate tree into a flow. So we'll have a chance to try that out again. All right, so let's start at the front of the mat. Arms are going to reach up and overhead. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, bring your hands halfway up, just below the knees, and exhale, forward fold. Go ahead and step it back to downward facing dog. Stretch. Really lift those hips high. Deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale, bring your right foot forward. Runner's lunge. Drop the heel of the left foot. We're going to lift up to warrior 2. So plant that right foot down. Energy is going to carry up. We're going to swing the left arm back. Right arm is going to reach forward. Hips are nice and open to the left side, and I'm in a heel to arch alignment. Deep breath here. Exhale. Straighten the right leg. Carry the right arm forward. Reach it out as you push the left hip back, transitioning to triangle. Then letting your right hand come down, either to your shin or to a block. Deep breath here. Exhale. Inhale, come back up, bend the right knee, carry the left arm around, and bring it down to runner's lunge. Left foot comes forward, forward fold position. Inhale, arms out to the side, lift up strongly, use that core, arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, bring hands to heart. We're going to move into tree pose now, so root down, plant your roots on your left leg, make them go deep and strong, and then carry the energy up through the core body. Turn your right knee outward and decide what expression of tree best suits you tonight. So create whatever position with that right leg. high, medium, or low. Breathe here, and now as you find your stability and your focus, if you wish, you can lift your arms up. You can create some beautiful branches with your arms. Open your heart. One more breath. Take your hands down. Bring your right foot down. Arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to downward facing dog. One full breath in downward dog. Exhale, release it out. Inhale, step forward with the left foot this time, all the way up to the front, runner's lunge, and then drop the right heel down. Inhale, lift up to warrior two, swinging the arms around, back and forward. Beautiful warrior. Deep breath in. Exhale, release. Straighten the left leg. Right hip presses back as my left fingers reach forward, and then I'll carry that left hand down, coming into Vrksasana, beautiful triangle. Beautiful breath. And then inhale, come back up, bend that left knee, warrior two once again. Swing the right arm around, bring it down to the front, come into lunge. And then step the right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift all the way up, arms come out to the side. Vrksasana, upward facing hands. Exhale, hands down to the heart. Last time for tree, plant your roots on your left side, grow them deep and steady, and then lift the left leg as you're ready, turning that knee out, finding the appropriate expression of your tree, lifting that spine up. Remember, keep lifting. Back is strong, core is steady. If and when you're ready, you can let your arms express themselves, opening them out, creating beautiful branches, beautiful nesting places for the birds. I just love trees, and I love all that they represent. It's one of my favorite postures. One more breath. And hands come to your heart. Left leg steps down. Inhale up, and let's flow it on down. Exhale, forward fold. Walk your feet backwards. Take one more downward facing dog. Inhale, come on down to hands and knees position. And come down to your seat. Swing your legs around, and we're going to roll it on down. Come on down to your seat. To your back. Go ahead and cross your right leg over your left leg. Squeeze your thighs together. Bring your arms into a T off the shoulder, and then gently roll over to your left hip. If you want to, you can twist those feet around one more time. This is called twisted roots, so it works nicely with tree pose. And just let your legs drop over to the left. Keep your right shoulder down. The knees don't have to come down all the way to the floor. In fact, they probably don't. Just feeling that nice counter pose by internally rotating the hips. And feeling that stretch all along the right gluteal muscle. Feels good. back to the center, untwist the legs. Start with an even, level pelvis and then cross your left leg over your right. Just going to roll the hips over to the right side now, keeping your roots all twisted together and feeling the stretch on that left gluteal muscle all the way into the lower back. Calm and relaxing. Bring it all back up to the center again. Unwind your legs, your tree roots. And go ahead and let your legs extend all the way down. Coming to a nice neutral posture for a few minutes of Shavasana. Just letting everything relax, letting go of all the engagement in the body. Beautifully refreshed and renewed. Or if your mind wants to wander as soon as you get into Shavasana, don't chastise yourself, don't feel bad. Just make a conscious effort to notice and become aware of your breath. Think of your breath like a wave in the ocean. Just watching it move in and out. Ever present. Always there. As you're ready, begin to bring yourself back with a little deeper breath, drawing in its nourishing life force, feeling the expansion in your chest, the awakening of your soul. Draw your knees into your chest and perhaps hug them into your chest. Rock back and forth if that feels good as you massage your hips and lower back. And anytime you are ready, you can roll to one side or the other. Meet back in a seated posture. Close this practice together by growing those branches one more time, lifting them up, reaching toward the heavens. And then exhale, connecting deeply to the heart center. Thank you so much for practicing with me tonight. May you have peace of mind and peace of heart all the rest of this evening. Om Shanti and Namaste.